Not even nostalgia can save these duds. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 worst NES, that's Nintendo Entertainment System, games of all time. For more gaming videos, check out our new spin-off channel, Mojo Plays, for in-depth reviews, thoughtful video essays, detailed character origins, and insightful commentary. Mojo Plays, games smarter. There are tons of games that live on the system in infamy, but we're excluding those notoriously unlicensed games like Action 52. Yes, they're almost universally terrible, but that's also probably why they never got the green light in the first place. Number 10, Friday the 13th. Movies are not games, and that is a lesson that LJN learned when trying to translate the atmosphere and plot of this film into a confusing game. The gameplay revolves around powering up different counselors to ultimately take on Jason, but despite seeming simple, it ends up being cryptic, repetitive, and annoying. You'll never find the items you need, and you're constantly interrupted by, well, Jason. What are you supposed to do? Well, power up just one character or share the items and make them all endlessly useless. Fun choices, eh? It actually doesn't seem to matter, since any encounter with the masked murderer ends in death, since he's just too damn hard to kill. Number 9, Tag Team Pro Wrestling. Probably wasn't easy to make quality action games in the 80s, but this one goes beyond being simply kinda bad, it's much closer to broken. Play this game with zero experience and you're just gonna get your ass kicked over and over while being completely unable to fight back. And that's because the main problem is the messed up control scheme. With only 2 buttons to pull off different attacks, it's nearly impossible to perform any moves you actually want to, and it makes pinning down your opponent kind of a nightmare. Number 8, Total Recall. Side-scrolling games had seemingly been perfected, and yet 7 years following the release of the NES, Acclaim managed to put out a game that failed in every aspect of the genre. It's slow-paced, it's ugly, and even the combat is incredibly tedious. The relentless enemies jump all over the place and force you to take damage as you try to get close enough to them to land Quaid's punches or shots, while the bosses, contrarily, are just too easy. It's just as bland at the end as it is in the beginning, and will have even the most die-hard Arnold fans regretting their purchase. Number 7, Barbie. Making a variety of games to appeal to different age groups and genders should never be taken as a bad thing, but just look at this. How good could this possibly have even been? It's one of the laziest platformers gamers have ever come across in terms of level design, and you can't even attack any of your enemies. The only reason it exists is just to sell more dolls to poor kids who have had their heart broken by this game. Seriously, I guess this didn't have to be Barbie, but then again, how else would parents be tricked into buying it? Number 6, Where's Waldo? Calling this title a game would be doing it a big favor, since what you're really getting is a poorly digitized, awful translation of the book series. The eye-strain-inducing levels are so low quality that to actually find Waldo, you'll need to be sitting 2 feet from your TV to examine every pixel on screen before just scrolling to the next section. Actually finding him is just trial and error too, and after doing it once, you'll turn it off because there's literally nothing else to do. He's annoying enough in the books, you don't need him on your NES. Number 5, Back to the Future. Another hastily thrown together mess to cash in on a blockbuster film success, Back to the Future might not be the worst title on this list, but it's definitely one of the most annoying. The soundtrack loop is so short that it'll drive you nuts, and considering most of the stages look and play exactly the same way, you'll feel like you're never making progress no matter how much you play. It very loosely tries to create key moments of the film, like Marty playing Johnny Be Good, but dude, what's the point? They're not fun to play, so why should we care that they're even included? Number 4, The Uncanny XMen. probably the only title that could dethrone Superman 64 as the all-time worst superhero game, this one is especially disappointing since it definitely had some potential. There's a small cast of your favorite characters, each with their own stats to choose from, but that's just a trap. Why would you ever choose Wolverine with his melee attacks when Cyclops has projectiles? That's just the beginning though, because once you actually try to navigate through the confusing levels with your useless partner AI, you'll quickly realize that it's the entire game that's screwed up. It makes your favorite X-Men look pathetic and will probably have you hating most of them by the time you're through with it. Hey guys, I know we're not even at number 1 yet, but this X-Men game really pisses me off. I really hated this game when I was a kid. I still hate it now. I hated it so much that I actually wrote a whole video essay on it, which you can check out right over here on Mojo Plays. Number 3, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The novel inspiration for this one sure is a strange case, since we're pretty sure it would be very tough to translate this into a video game. As it turns out, we are right, because this title is straight up worthless. Stiff, unresponsive controls are a death knell in almost any game, but the real issue comes from the fact that you're basically defenseless against anything and everyone. Your attacks as Jekyll are pointless, and once you fill your meter and switch to Hyde, you're given no time to react to the completely different mechanics. Then you'll just die again and be forced to start over. No thanks. Number 2, Deadly Towers. Do not be deceived by its apparent Zelda inspirations, because Deadly Towers has none of the charm or any of the polish. The first major problem comes from every enemy seemingly sticking to you like glue and draining all your health way too quickly. After dying repeatedly, you'll start racing to avoid the endless enemies that litter every screen in the game while navigating the maze-like rooms, until you either beat it or do the same thing and give up. And trust us, after listening to the music loop for the 20th or 30th time you enter the room, you're gonna just give up. Number 1, Ghostbusters. We're not exaggerating when we say that this is the biggest waste of code to appear on the NES. Everything from catching ghosts to climbing stairs is a skill-less, boring exercise in patience and button mashing, with the worst offender being the game forcing you to wait before entering the Zool building. You can play as long as you want, but if the game doesn't let you into the building, you're screwed! And all that waiting is just so you can go fight the disappointing, poorly designed final boss. Every phase of this game is a mess, and when combined, the resulting product is hands down the worst game on the system. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.